happened to you falling in that grocery store?
Your guess is as good as mine. My auntie said she knew someone. I gave her all the information, but that was 3 weeks ago and I still haven't heard anything.
You still got time to talk to the lawyers at the CLN.
The CLN? What's that?
It's the Chicago Legal Network, a group of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of law, especially the laws most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. Plus, all the lawyers at the CLN all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community.
Sounds like I definitely need to contact them.
Say less. I can text you everything you need to know. So if you're ever injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information, or call 773-912-3545. That's 773-912-3545. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing Black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation.
What's up, good people? If you didn't tune in to the last I Said What I Said, here's what you missed. Special thanks to Love McPherson.
And when you talk about object sex, you and objectifying that woman, you glorify pieces of her. And let me tell you something. If you think that doesn't matter, it does. And I'm going to tell you why it matters. I looked at a video and I was looking at these young boys, these teenagers, and they were like, do you like black women or white women? I like white women. I like white women. And first I felt some kind of way. Then you know what happened to me? I started listening to them and they said, why did you like the white women? Because they'll do anything for you. Yeah, the white hoes.
Bitch, you is a hoe. Bitch, you is a hoe.
And I thought pornography has elevated what the white woman will do for you, the objectifying of her. And this is why we don't realize, even in our spaces, the black man is shut down because he doesn't know the power of his seed like the white man knows the power of his seed.
Oh, look, just like milk.
He doesn't realize that you sit up there coming into my neighborhood, objectifying my white women because you say they do it better than your women is a problem. They don't do it to them, but they won't bring that out, and they will not allow you to do that to their women.
I said what I said. Herb 2, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
We fun guy.
What's tomorrow?
Fun guy, what's up, baby?
What it do, baby?
Yeah, you already know.
No sense, I'll be telling you.
What's going on, Chicago? What's in it for the Black People Media presents?
I want to go higher. Oh, my God.
Call your sons, call your daughters, call your friends, call your neighbors.
The Big Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. with Eugene McIntosh and Terrence Tomlin. We got what you need right here on What's in it for the Black People Media.
WIIFTVPN.
Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio.
And so, my fellow Americans, I have a dream.
You're listening to Trigger.
You want to crown them? Then crown their ass.
I ain't scared of you, mother.
The one and only
Mike Brown. Mike Brown.
My calculations are correct.
Let's begin.
Hey, what's going on? It is Trigger with Instructor Mike. I am your host, Instructor Mike, and we are back on Thursday, November 5th. We are still waiting for election results, especially for this presidential election. Hope you all had a good day, and I hope you exercise your civil duty, in essence, to vote your interest. You heard what I said, right? Vote your interest. So as we do look at some local elections, you already know that, Dick Durbin did win his Senate race. And what does this say for Willie Wilson? What does this say for him? We had a fun show the last time. I hope Willie didn't hear none of the stuff that I was saying. But we had a pretty fun show. But I hate to say it, like, who didn't anticipate the outcome of what happened, right? And that's sad. That's sad because he did raise some rather interesting questions in terms of why don't we have term limits? I don't know if he raised that question. I'm definitely raising that question. Why don't we have term limits? How does someone get to last in that job for so long when there are so many other people and so many other ideas? But he's in the job again, and that they had a picture of Willie Wilson on there. It wasn't the brightest picture. It was sad, rather sad. He's literally ran for president. He's ran for mayor. He's ran for Congress. What senator? You know, how many of you would he run? Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Could he run for alderman? You know, maybe not in the ward that he lives in because, well, we know who's going to win in those wards, I'd say. But would he have to run would he have to move to a hood ward to run in that ward to be successful? I don't know. That's the one thing I don't know. I know typically, yeah, you know, as long as you're a Democrat or whatever, I don't know. I don't know. But maybe he should try that. It's kind of like the Jamal Green thing when he ran for mayor. I didn't anticipate he would even get as close as he did. And should he run for alderman? But then you had another activist at the time, Jedediah Brown, who ran for 7th Ward alderman against Greg Mitchell, and he lost that one, you know. And Jedediah had some pretty good ideas. You know, I listened to some of the stuff that he had to say. So I'm seeing this, and I'm looking at that. I'm also looking at the presidential race. Joe Biden has 253 electoral votes for Donald Trump's 214. So even if the other states come back in his favor, I don't know if that's going to be what's necessary to push him at 270 and over, right? And so when we look at that, elections, it's a popularity thing. So it's like in order for you to really win, you got to be liked. You know, we want someone who can do the job, but then you got to be liked, you know. And what does that do for black folks? You keep hearing that question as, what's in it for the black people? What's in it for the black people? What the fuck did you win if Biden wins? Right? You didn't want anybody to go to the table to Trump, you know, if they were black, to ask any questions, because if you did, you vilified them. So they had to choose what makes them money versus the interests of other people. To go to Trump for anything for black people was a selfless, I guess I would see that as a selfless act, but they got vilified, right? Steve Harvey faced it. Whatever. I'm sorry, Katie, excuse me, 264. Shouts out to Katie. What's going on? 264, excuse me. So he's 6 away from 270, right? Okay, so let's just go on ahead and say that what's in it for the black people media is going to call the race for Biden, right? There he is. He won. He won. Thumbs up. Break out the ticker tape. I hope you got the invitations to the Biden inaugural ceremony where he gets sworn in and all that great stuff, and you get to see him dance the jig or some shit. I don't know with his wife. Now, his wife is amazing.
No, Despacito. He's the dancer.
Oh, the besito. Ay, okay. Well, bailando putas. Oh, my God. Let me stop. But here, now, Dr. Jill Biden is amazing. I don't know how many of you all saw like her campaign when somebody tried to attack.
She's about her man.
She is, for sure. For sure. She's amazing. So it's nothing against Dr. Jill Biden. She's great. But, you know, some people who I talk to, we don't expect him to physically outlive his first term because the stress of the presidency.
You were saying before you started.
Yeah, I know. I don't see. 4 more? Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. It's like. Young what? Young, I don't know. Where? Maybe during his Obama years, Biden was like full of life. Like it was fun to watch him because he would say these off the cusp, outlandish shit. Matter of fact, there is a book that I actually have called Shit My Vice President Says. And it's like you see President Obama with the face like, oh, fuck, what is he about to say?
I love the meme.
Yeah, like he will say some stuff that's just totally, wait a minute, where's it coming from? But when you think about it, this is not that Biden. This is not. So the pencil is not as sharp as it used to be in a moment where you need it to be sharp. And I get it, right? This is where you say that, you know, a smart general isn't necessarily the smartest general. He has other subordinates around him who know how to do things great. But as a tactician, I'm like, nah, you still need to be a smart general. Fuck that, because not all the tacticians know what to do. So, you know, it's a combination of both. But what the hell did we get out of voting for Biden? And is that the question, that was it directly a vote for Biden more than it was a vote against President Trump? That's a very profound question, because, you know, you wanted Trump out so bad, and 9 times out of 10 he probably is going to be out. Let's call it spade a spade, you know. Unless there's some trickery on both sides. Who knows? We're watching it. Like, how many of you all, when the Secretary of State is going live on Facebook, how many of you are watching? I know I am. Every time they go live talking about the election results, every time I'm watching because I'm listening. Because if I was President Trump, I'm not leaving till every ballot is counted and every challenge gets ruled on, because you don't give up in something you really believe in. Like, you can hate Trump all day, but if you have not read his books, The Art of the Deal, if you have not paid attention to him before his presidency, he is not one that really, granted, he files bankruptcy, taxes, you can talk all that other stuff, but, he is not one that really gives up without a hell of a fight. And so, here we go. Somebody says, "Oh Lord, we overanalyze everything." Well, that's what it is. That's what this is about, overanalyzing. And if you had something to lose, you'd overanalyze it too. Bottom line, they want him to concede before Biden even gets to 270. And if you look at other presidential elections, when they got to 270, that's when the concessions came in, stuff like that. President Trump is not a politician. He's a figure, in essence, public figure, whatever the case may be. So he's going to play his cards the way he plays his cards. That having been said, what do we get from what do we get from that? What do we get from Biden being in office? If he had to convince you, look at the ways that he convinced you to vote for him, right? So he didn't believe that the power of the black vote was what it is. He had to convince us by throwing strippers out there in the mix. And you saw Herb Howard and Tucson Warner's show where one of the young ladies, I think she was probably the head of it, whatever the case may be, she came on and I heard it, I watched it. She said it was a thing of pride where they could use their talents and stuff like that. But you have to consider the manner in which they were able to try to convince that cohort, that section of the population, that, look, get out there and go to the polls, Did it work? Who knows? Some people say, well, the power of the black vote, I watched the show this morning. The power of the black vote really came through and saved Democrats. How the fuck do we know? I'm still waiting for the results and for the returns and for anything to show that black people voted more this time than they did for the Obama administration. That's a very powerful thing to think about. You think about that. Not even the black president or the candidate for president could get more black people to come out and vote. And then during the second term or the run for the second term, how much convincing had to take place to remind black folks of the power in the vote. But two white men are vying for the vote, and because of the emotional nastiness of the election and different people's interests, that may have produced a higher turnout. What does that say? What does that say about black folks? What does that say? So I'm gonna look at some of your comments because I want to engage you. That's an important thing that we're gonna talk about right now. We're also gonna talk about, stay tuned, we're gonna talk about Philadelphia releasing the body cam footage of Walter Wallace Jr. in that shooting. Okay, we're gonna talk about that too. Talk about that too. So I'm looking at some of your comments here on Facebook. And by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, go on ahead and subscribe to the Mace Jackson page, in support of What's in It for the Black People Media. Hit the bell for notifications. If you're watching on Facebook, hit that like button on the Mace Jackson page, and send those stars. Those people who send stars, shouts out to you. Angela Williams sent 50 stars. Kenneth Steele sent 100 stars. That's got to be for the Unfuck Your Fuck Fund. I swear, it always is. So here we go. Let's go to it. Laura Simmons says, no matter who they voted for, I am so proud of every single person that got out there and voted. And I am too. I can actually say that I really enjoyed, and I don't even think I've ever enjoyed an election. I don't know. But I think I really did enjoy this one, and maybe the last one. I don't know. But this one was really something because of the things that I went through personally in the past 4 years, and just to see some names that I recognized who really had an impact on me personally, I was proud to vote yes for them. Against some of the recommendations that I should not, and I talked about that in the last show, and I'm going to continue to talk about that this time, that you really need to be informed. A lot of elections and a lot of people stay in office because of the misinformation of the people, and it's a shame that people should have to go to a level of trickery, in essence, to excite and inflame the passions of the people to get them to get out there and do something that they should already do, but that's what we have to do. That's how people move. But if you voted your interest and not what someone told you because you did not know, hey, good job. If you voted what someone told you, hey, whatever, that's your thing. But I hope that you are informed, because what the fuck are we going to get out of this election? That's what I'm going to keep on asking. What do we get? Not even just black folks, just I know Hispanics that are suffering, white folks that are suffering, depending upon which side and whatever your interests are. Some of you who don't work some of these jobs that Trump helped them to get, they feel they're going to lose them. They feel they're going to suffer. You heard Biden saying he's going after the oil industry. I got friends that work in the oil industry. He's definitely coming for your guns. The minute I start talking about the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994. Well, what the fuck is that? That's the Clinton crime bill. You remember the 10-round magazines that we had to get because you couldn't get high-cap magazines because they wouldn't even sell the shit? Yeah, Biden is responsible for that. He was the one who sponsored that legislation, and as the head of the Senate Judiciary Committee, was able to push that through all the way up to Clinton, so where it was signed into law. That's right at the beginning of the Clinton presidency, when he just got elected, when there was a Democratic supermajority in the House and in the Senate, and then you had a Democratic president. That's how that got passed. 2 years later, I believe the Senate, the Republicans took back either the House or the Senate, one of the two, but they did it right then at that moment. And you typically see that even in the Obama presidency, instead of worrying about some of the other issues that we have to worry about, in terms of crime in our neighborhoods and the socioeconomic conditions that breed candidates for criminal behavior, things like that. We focused on fucking healthcare when there was a Democratic supermajority at the beginning of President Obama's term, and here we are still killing each other, still doing this, still backbiting, still doing a whole bunch of other dumb shit. What the fuck do we get out of Biden's win? We didn't want anything out of Trump. Let's talk facts, right? You may have wanted something, but anybody who tried to go get something, you talk shit about them and said, what the fuck are you doing, fool? This orange plant racist white motherfucker. Okay, good. You were worried about likes. So can we agree on this, that the presidency and any election is about popularity? It ain't about if you can do the fucking job, because those people who probably can do the job, they don't last long. Need I remind you, maybe about 2 or 3 hours ago, what show was on? Who sits in one of these seats who actually had the ability to do the job that didn't last in that job? See, do you really want someone who does the job, or do you want someone who you like? Absolutely. You want someone who you like. Let's talk facts. As long as they go ahead and put on a basketball game, get a nice ass choir, get us whatever the fuck we want to get, and then go ahead and throw a chicken dinner, now you want to vote them in the office. Fucking all these years, right? Never mind this racist shit that Biden has said, right? Let's vote him in because we don't like racist Trump. So you don't want an overt racist who's going to tell you what the fuck he feels. You want someone who's going to keep that shit in the back door and give you a little G-spot tickle. That's what you really want. Here we go. I'm just saying. Here we go. Guns. What about guns? I don't own any guns. Shifty eyes. Okay, you don't own guns. That's not your interest. I get it, right? But I'm telling you, as the United States of America, one of the things that keeps you free, keeps us free, so that you don't have to worry about owning a gun if you don't want to. That's your right. Cool. But guess what? There are some people out there who are willing to exact violence to keep you safe so that you don't have to worry about owning a gun. You don't have to believe it. But one of the things, especially now, that makes us the country that we are, is not that necessarily we're great in industry or we're great in other things. We are the most violent country that other countries don't want to fuck with. That's why they are willing to be diplomatic with us, because they know the violent side. We have a hell of a violent past. And they know if we will fuck up our own, fucking you up is nothing but a word. Is nothing but a feeling. So I think you might want to rethink that again. Yeah. You said that's a great idea, but how much would security cost? How about someone bring manufacturing to Chicago? Who's going to work the jobs? And when are we going to stop killing each other so that can happen, right? I'm just saying, right, you're tripping on Hispanic folks, but Hispanic folks are doing what they need to do to bring their community together. That don't mean don't get me wrong, they got violence in their shit too, but it's not to the level of numbers that we do. So if we're talking about this strategic plan, and I keep hearing all this plan talk, let's have a black party and a black this and a black that.
Study of the research of the study.
Yeah, you know, we
That's
keep
the plan. But there's a study that we need first.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a study. How about this? How about we do the work on the inside to make ourselves what we need to be so that we can make ourselves what we want to be? We still are not talking about that. I'm going to double down again on Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown's comment that as long as the police are the only focus here at the table answering the questions of why every weekend is a violent weekend and we don't have other elements here, such as the schools. You know, it's been a minute. I'm going to say it again. It's been a minute since we've seen Dr. Janice Jackson on TV talking about the state of affairs of what's going on with the learning of in terms of what's going on in school, because we don't want to talk about those numbers. We don't want to talk about how many black kids are not logging in like they should be. We don't want to talk about how many parents are actually calling in to say they want help, because if you actually talk about the truth of that shit, then, you know, it's not necessarily a popular thing for the mayor. You see what I'm saying? I mean, this whole network is possible, right? It became possible because someone attempted to silence Brother Mays for telling the fucking truth, because that's not popular. You see what I'm saying? That's not popular. Right? And Alvin E. Norton, I got your comment here. Black people think about creating our own jobs. Who's going to fucking work it? Right? I keep saying that. As a person who has been responsible for getting people employment, right? As an employer myself, you see what I'm saying? As other people who are responsible. Sonia, you got that fire. Go on, comment. But I'm just saying, you know, as a person who's been responsible for helping people get jobs, don't talk to me about jobs when you don't have people that understand work ethic. Everybody wants to be a fucking CEO. Wants to be a CEO, but nobody wants to be a motherfucking janitor, right? You want to be a boss of some shit, but you can't be a good follower. You got a problem taking orders, cuz fuck the police, right? Fuck 12, fuck authority, right? I get it. Well, what do you think being a CEO is? You know, I can tell you this. Mays is feeling the stress of it too, right? The whole thing, it's one thing when you're in the driver's seat operating the car. It's another thing when you got to operate the car, get out the car, clean the car, change the tire, change the oil, fix the transmission, fix the engine, replace the glass. Then when somebody gets in your car and wants to fuck it up, or when somebody looks like they're not about to drive it, you're not going to give them the opportunity. Why? Because you see the potential of them fucking shit up before they ever get in the driver's seat. So that becomes a part of that. Jobs are not the issue. If jobs were the issue, why do you have so many people coming from places where they really are suffering? They come here to America and they make shit work. They are the ones who's cleaning your toilets. They are the ones who's watching your kids. They are the ones who's doing the shitty work that you won't do, combining two $10 an hour jobs, making it $20 between the both of them. They're pulling their resources together. I don't give a fuck what kind of plan you have. I don't care what the fuck Biden does in office. If your house is still shitty, it's still gonna be shitty. With Biden in office, with Hillary in office, if Obama became the mayor of Chicago, your shit would still be shitty. Why? Because while you are a great, good-natured person, you got some shitty work ethic about you, and you need to unfuck that. Where's the electoral results on that shit? Right? And no one's perfect. I get it. I love you. I love you enough to be able to say this, right? But jobs are not the issue. There's plenty of shit to do, right? I had to sit here and tell this person. This person called me trying to get perk card in the unarmed, right? She had a conviction for armed robbery, okay? And it was 10 years ago, right? It was 10 years ago. And I love the honesty about how she was and how transparent she was. And, you know, she had just told me she applied for a Home Depot and they hire felons, but they didn't hire her, you know, and she was just ready to give up. And I'm saying, you got to understand, because of the position that you're in, you're going to get more no's. You need to embrace that shit. You're going to get more no's. So you got to be careful of the advice that you get from some people when they sit there and tell you pain is not natural and, you know, no is not coming or whatever the case may be. You know, pain is very natural. You're going to feel that shit. The problem is that we in our fucked up households, and I hate to say it, there are some black households that are fucked up, and you're going to sugarcoat that shit and lie and say, no, it's not you, it's the kids. No, it's fucking you, right? But you don't teach your kids how to accept rejection, right? So they don't know as an adult how to accept that no. Why? Because you as a parent didn't learn how to accept that no. And so when they find themselves in situations falling prey to whatever the system or whatever the case might have been because of the choice motivators that made them choose that bad thing in life that we all in some shape, form, fashion have done but have not been caught. Let's talk the truth about that shit. Here we go. When they get to that point, right, where they hear that no, instead of looking at that no as next opportunity, they will make the assumption because they got that no that they're going to get no from everybody else. And then they join the crowd of the fuckers that sit here and say, well, we need more jobs. We need more opportunities when opportunity abounds, but you're not going to get every opportunity. Some opportunity is not for you. It's not for you. It's not for you to do that shit, right? Some people see that they are fucked up and they will tell you no to push you away from their fucked upness. But if you haven't been taught that reality about rejection, you're not going to keep going past those no's to get more no's to get to the yes that's going to make you the best.
All right, Mike. I love that.
I'm just saying.
You might be 3 no's away.
You might be.
That one yes.
You might need. Absolutely.
You might be 5 no's away.
Give me a no. Tell me a no. I love no. No is that shit that saves me from danger I don't see. I'm telling you, I'll eat the shit out some no. Now, don't get me wrong. No is going to hurt, right? No is going to hurt. That's the reason why I often compare that to wearing a ballistic vest, right? We don't wear a ballistic vest because we know we are not going to get shot. Yeah, there's a pot. Now, you get some people that put on a ballistic vest and they go out there and do reckless shit counting on that vest to really save them. But you get some of us that'll sit here and be like, you know what? Even though I'm wearing this vest, I'm still humble. I could be shot. Even though I have the skills that I do as a veteran and as law enforcement, I know I can still get it. So I'm going to avoid that conflict even while wearing this vest. Okay, and we're going to get to that when we're talking about Philadelphia and this body cam footage that have been released, because I read some things about that and I'm like, yeah, buddy, I wish that we would go on ahead and look at that stuff too. And I'm seeing your comment here, Preston. I'm going to go on ahead and address that because, I'm not going. You want to go to the bash black folks all day. Boy, get out your feelings. Let me tell you something. The greatest advice you're going to get is from somebody who don't give a fuck about your skin color, because if skin color is everything to you, what if you were you don't have a choice of what skin color you are. That's a card that you're dealt. What the fuck are you going to do? Let's bash black folks all day. You better get the fuck out your emotions when you come on this show, because I'm going to make this shit all about your ass in a hot minute, and you don't want that shit. So let's get to it. Here we go. Now, back to what I was saying. Wearing that ballistic vest, that is going to rebound you so that you can move forward. Guess what? If you're still shot with a vest, ask anybody who's been shot in the vest, the shit still hurts. It still hurts. It still hurts. Pain is a part of life. Pain can be that thing that lets you know, hey, fucker, you're not dead yet. Keep going. Hit doesn't mean you're dead. It just means you're hit. Lets you know you're alive. Lets you know you need to move around. You need to move around. That's what you need to do, right? We spend so much time giving our kids fluff, hiding them from reality. Then when reality hits them, you're dead or you're not around. And how many times have they experienced the reality of whatever they're going through before they even come to you and tell you about that one occurrence that then spawns the message that your ass should have gave them a long time ago? Absolutely. So don't come to me about that job shit. I'm not going. Okay? I'm not going. I'm not going to go on ahead and focus on him because he's got funny things to say, and that's gonna distract from the main message. Okay, here we go. Hit, not dead, keep going. Hit, not dead, keep going. We're not going to use a broad brush to paint all black people. That's not what we're talking about. I've been using some great quantifiers like some, most. We didn't say all. Moving on. Solution, Mike. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. What's the solution? What did we get out of this election? What did we get out of this election? That's what I'm waiting on. Preston, if that's even your name. What did we get? What did we get? When we come back, I want you to answer that question, Preston. I want you to answer that question because I'm pretty sure you probably can't, because Joe Biden doesn't even remember that he's about to win. We'll be right back.
WIFTVPM. Introducing your trusted source for high-quality black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of Black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Group events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Group members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Group-led organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
Chicago famous with Mike Love and Diz.
The destined legend himself, Leon Rogers.
Yeah. What's going on, Playboy?
Man, listen, honored to be here with radio legends, man. Two brothers I looked up for and patterned my success.
You walked away from your day job
said, what?
and you went straight in the
Man, brother, first time somebody called me to do the gig, they was like, hey, I got my grandmama's 85-year-old birthday party. She's turning 85. She has a brain tumor. I mean, now she's not going to be able to hear because she's in a coma, but she'll be laying in the room, and we just want the good vibes. Well, what is it? $75. We need you to do an hour. I'm there because of the passion. I wanted to do the comedy. Yeah. So I quit. But when you quit that job, and the job I had was decent. My father, every young Black man should have a dad or a father figure in his life. Yes. When I say he went off on me.
My son works.
When I told him I quit to do comedy, my mom, mamas is always like, well, that's good, baby. You spread your wings. You realizing what God wants you to do.
Right.
My father like, you got to be the dumbest son of a bitch in the world. I can't believe you came from my ball sack. 65,000 a year. Me and your mama combined only make 80. You dumb mother. I mean, going off. Like, me and my pops actually kind of fell out.
Old school Black fathers, old school mindset. They came up working. They know how hard it is.
Hands knuckles black. Hands look like he worked at the steel mill, like he was dipping them in the lava. So, he pissed. My hands manicured.
He's super cool and he know kung fu.
I'm clean. I work on computers.
Drives a $5,000 car and wears a $100 suit.
Right.
He like, I'm out here getting lung poisoning from inhaling all these steel mill fumes and touching people's mail. Look at my hands. I can't even pick up a fork and knife. Your mama got to cut my food for me. And you want to quit to do some damn comedy. He hell.
Chicago famous. 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
WIFTBPM.
Oh my God, boy, I'm glad I had a chance to read these doggone comments, and I'm really holding back. I'm telling you, I really hope, because I know somebody in the doggone comments know all too well about popularity and elections. I ain't gonna say shit though. Oh, I'm glad I had a chance to read that doggone comment. And it was the one who said, please stop using broad brushes to paint all Black folks. No, miss me with that, ma'am, and you need to go on with that. I respect your comment, but I'm just going to leave it at that because it's not all Black folks. It's not all Black folks at all. Matter of fact, I'm responsible for a good percentage of Black folks in the security field who got their jobs. So you can miss me with that because there are some that are just not going to work. And we need to, and the part of the problem that I'm talking about as to the reason why we could be stuck where we are is because we won't face certain realities. You want to be mad all fucking day. I don't give a shit. I don't care. This is called triggered for a reason. I'm not here for your motherfucking feelings. I'm not here for your motherfucking emotions. I'm here to go on ahead and speak what it is. None of us are perfect. You hear me even talk about my mistakes on this show. We all make them, but when we are not trying to address them, that's a part of the problem. So you can call me whatever the fuck you want to call me. I don't care. You can say what it is. What did you get out of voting for Biden? What did you get out of not going to Trump? What did you get? You can't ask what's in it for the Black people if we're not looking at those questions to be answered. And you can say whatever you want to say because I know, ma'am, you who made the comment know all too well about popularity and elections. you probably would have been a great, I'm not going to say your name because it ain't even worth it. You probably would have been a great jurist, but you weren't popular. No one knew you enough to like you to put you in office. That's the fucking truth. Willie Wilson probably would have been a great senator, but no one likes him. That's what this is about. This ain't about if you could do the fucking job. We know that. It's about popularity. So spot the lie. Shut that shit up. Moving on. Here we go. Philadelphia releases body cam of Walter Wallace Jr. shooting. Let's talk about that. Shift focus here. Okay. This is on lawofficer.com. The city of Philadelphia has released body cam video and 911 audio on Wednesday of the fatal shooting of Walter Wallace Jr. Okay. Nah, it wasn't money. Stop it. It wasn't money. People didn't know you. Stop that. I'm not going. Okay. Because there's a lot of people who won their retention yesterday who probably had little. Miss me on that. Elections are about popularity. If people don't know you, they're not pressing yes. Maybe you all need to do a better job of getting your ass out there, right? And here we go. I'm humble enough to say that shit too. I'm an award-winning author. Guess what? No one knows who the fuck Mike Brown is, right? No one knows who the fuck Mike Brown is. Those who know, do. Those who don't, don't. It's a reality. I'm not salty about it. Guess what I have to do? Get my shit out there and get known. If you can't face the failure, then you can't succeed. Move that shit on. The city of Philadelphia released a body cam video and 911 audio on Wednesday on the fatal shooting of Walter Wallace Jr. Officers can be heard saying, quote, put the knife down at least 11 times before Wallace was fatally shot on October 26, WPVI reported. The body cam video shows the officer approaching the home and Wallace appearing on the steps with a knife. Wallace begins to move off the steps, disregarding multiple commands to drop the weapon. As Wallace enters the middle of the road, wielding the knife, he is shot multiple times. At one point in the video, you can hear one of the officers say, shoot him. The officers fired at least 7 rounds, but police will not say how many times Wallace was struck. Wallace was transported to Penn Presbyterian Medical Center where he later died. We believe that this is an important step in our community to transparency, said Police Commissioner Daniel Outlaw during a press conference before the release of the video. Family members say police were called multiple times. Now, this is the important part that I really wanted to get to, because who doesn't know about what happened to Walter Wallace in Philadelphia, okay? Family members say police were called multiple times before the fatal shooting. 911 calls released Wednesday shed some light on what officers may have known prior to arrival. Could you send the cops? The people next door are fighting, said one neighbor at 3:42:18 p.m. Seconds later, another call was made by a, here we go, family member. Family member, right? We're going back to the conversation about family again. Family again. Here we go. I am the daughter to my mother and father, and my brother is, they called the cops earlier, and the cops is not doing nothing. He over there hitting my mother and father, said the woman at 3:42:22 p.m. Any weapons involved? Asked the 911 operator. No, but he's on probation. He got a case for being violent. He got a whole record, said the woman. Another call was made at 3:34:20 p.m. My mom needs help, said a man on the call. In the police radio transmission just released, audio reveals a warning for officers to use caution. Have the officers use caution responding. There's an ongoing domestic issue going on up there, says the dispatcher. I will sit here and say this. This is the solution that I have, right? We want to say what's in it for the black people. This is what I say. As a former law enforcement officer who is well abreast with police procedure, I say that officers should be licensed. Not certified, licensed. You've heard me say this before, so I'm going to double down on this again. Licensed. Secondly, we should have to, and this is Jamal Green's recommendation, so I'm going to go with Jamal Green. I agree. We should get insurance. Professional liability insurance. I'm a licensed professional. I have professional liability insurance. So we should get professional liability insurance. But the one thing that no one is talking about, because we're trying to save the city money and all these lawsuits and things like that, here we go. One thing that could save the city with all its lawsuits is change the statute that says that once we get there, we got to do something. Change that statute. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. So that way you can give us options. Because as a licensed professional, I have options. Just because I'm licensed to do something doesn't mean I have to serve you. Now, granted, that means I won't get the money from you. That's cool. But that doesn't mean I have to serve you, right? Because, of course, remember, you all are so quick to say your taxes pay our salary. If you think that, that's fine. That's not true. Your taxes pay for the government to do what it does, and it allocates the money to many things, among which law enforcement is one of those things. But let's go with my taxes pay your salary. Great, check that box. So that means, I have to do what you say? Nah, that's not how that works. So let's go on ahead where I got to get licensed. I got to get certified. I got to get insurance, and I don't want to shoot you. I don't want to shoot you because if I shoot you, then I'm going to have to go see Jake from State Farm, and I'm going to have to explain to him why I had to do what I had to do, and my premiums are going to go up, or I'm going to get dropped from the license, from the insurer, right? They're not going to insure me no more because I keep getting myself into situations I don't have to. It's like if you're out there with a vehicle and you're driving, right, and you're getting into accidents that you could clearly avoid, your insurance carrier is not going to keep you. If you are a doctor and you keep malpracticing, then they're not going to go on ahead and keep you because you keep malpracticing. So that'll force you to go back and get more training or not put yourself in situations where you have to practice. Right? Absolutely. So I think that let's go on ahead and, get me, insured and then make it to where I'm licensed. That way, when I get on scene, like in Philadelphia with Walter Wallace, and I see that mom and dad are getting beat and that you've got sister who's calling, brother who's calling, it was a family member. I don't know if it's sister, brother, auntie, uncle, cousin, whatever the case may be, family members who are probably able-bodied, who could have intervened but didn't want to. They called the police to do for them what they could have done for themselves. He had a situation with autism. Nobody knew how to handle him. Nobody knew. Why? Because a lot of people do exactly what Ronald Reagan said. They rely on the government to do for them what they should do for themselves, and that also becomes part of the problem. Right? I thought that, what was it? The black mafia in Philadelphia, they were all about do for self. Remember that during the 50s and 60s, right? Yeah, it kind of turned a little bit different. But I remember them saying that, do for self, right? What about the Nation of Islam? Do for self, right? Nah, fuck that. We don't want to do for self because it's too hard. But I thought all blacks had a job, Felicia. I thought all blacks went to work. Yeah, you're quiet now. How about that? What I'm saying is this. If you really want the death toll to stop amongst police shootings, and there really aren't that many, but fuck it, we'll go on ahead and go with the narrative that all blacks are being killed by cops. Sure, let's go on ahead and go with that. Go to your representatives, ask them to change the statute. Go to your representatives, ask them to make it, because all this stuff is by statute, right? Who cares about popularity? You do, right? Go to them and ask them, make them licensed, make them get insurance, and change the statute. Because when I tell them to get the fuck out of my house, I want them to be able to do just that. Give us the option to be able to say, nah, I'd rather not deal with your problems. I think you're strong enough to deal with them on your own. And then you'll learn quickly how to deal with them on your own. When you call 911 and it takes an hour and 45 minutes for them to actually respond to that ass whooping. Right? When your grandmother is in her house, by herself, maybe you'll actually start to care about your grandparents because some of you don't, right? You put them up in a home and forget about them. You don't give a shit about the one who wiped your ass when you were younger, who made sure you can get to the point where you are where you are. You don't care about them because all you got to do is call the police and the police will be there and you'll get there whenever the fuck you want to get there. Maybe we'll actually start to care. Maybe if there was no DCFS. Maybe if welfare had a time limit. Yeah, I'm really going in. I don't give a shit. This is my own give a shit show right now because I'm really feeling that. I'm triggered right now. So maybe if welfare had a time limit of 5 years, what if Biden made that shit possible? Ooh. What if Biden made that shit possible where welfare had a time limit and you couldn't sit there and go to another state and then the clock started again? What if child support, you really had to do what you're supposed to do with that child support and not get that shit on stuff that's not related to the child? What if they actually started to actually make fathers' lives actually matter in the household? Ooh, you don't want that shit, do you? Because then it might force you to actually face some of your demons that made you stuck in the fuckery that you're in right now. We don't want that, do we? We don't want that, do we? I bet that. So what did you get out of this election? What did you get out of this? Out of all this stuff, we see this body camera being released. Dalton just had a shooting just a minute ago. Yeah, Dalton police in our own backyard, right? Dalton police just had a shooting, right? Family, a person, not a family member, someone called about a man with a gun. Now, this wasn't a situation that Dalton, Illinois police on-viewed. In other words, they saw it, they responded to it. This was a call for service about a man with a gun. They get to the scene. and they see this person doesn't have anything in their hand right then and there. But then when they ask this person to stop, this person does not stop. And then he begins to put his hands in his waist. And as he began to move, the police did not take a chance. They shot him, and I don't think he's either killed or he's in the hospital. I think he's killed. I don't know if he's killed or in the hospital. I think he's in the hospital fighting for his life. He's in critical condition, right? But with that situation, what if Dalton police did not respond? What if that person actually had a gun? We don't know if a gun was recovered. That was never said by Dalton Mayor Riley Rogers. He was the one who was speaking in the press conference, right? Here we go. We don't know if he ever had a gun. But what if he was en route to do something to someone, right? What if that person got killed? See, there's a lot of issues that aren't being addressed that could be addressed so that maybe some of the things that happen in our community don't actually happen, so that they don't make the media, so that we don't have a reason to protest and don't have a reason to go downtown and fuck shit up and fuck up shit in our own communities and stuff like that. That's the work that I see that's not being done. That's where this police shooting in this election, I'm trying to find out, you want this political plan to actually be better. What the fuck are we doing within our four walls, right? Your house isn't perfect. My house isn't perfect. We got work to do within us. So where's the conversation about that shit? Where's the conversation about that? Because I don't give a fuck what kind of party you want to have, what kind of political action you want to have. If you don't do the work in your four walls, you ain't getting shit. Nothing's going to happen. Because if we're not a family within our family, we ain't going to be a family outside of our family. I'll say that again. If we're not a family in our family, right, we are not going to have a family outside of our family. And I'm glad for once this talk of the Civil War shit is kind of at a standstill, or at least at a simmer. I haven't been hearing nothing about that because, of course, we're waiting for the outcome of the election. But I want you to understand, Republican wins, Democrat wins, whatever the case may be, when the fuck do you get to win? When do you get to win? I'm still not hearing anything about that. I'm going to go back to the comments. I want you all to comment because there's been a lot of comments going on, and I want to interact with you all. If you're watching by Facebook, if you hit the stars, that's great. It supports great content. Even if you don't like my ass, hit the stars to support Maze, okay, please, because he's doing a great thing. Whether I'm here or not, what's in it for the black people media is still going to rock. So don't think, well, I'm not going to support Mike's show. Fuck that. Hit the stars because you support Maze and his dream and his vision of providing great content, even from Salim Muwakil and Muwakil's World to Chicago Famous, with Mike Love and Diz and Herb Howard and Tucson Warner. I said what I said. You're supporting great content. Book of Dawn, okay? Fuck Mike Brown if you don't like my ass. That's why this show is called Trigger, because maybe you need some Republican-esque content to kind of piss you off on your day, because you know damn well you were falling asleep at the work your ass not doing, punching the clock and shit. Don't get me started, Felicia, on you. I'm just playing. I love you. I love you. I'm just fucking with you. It's all love. Here we go. If you call the police on a relative with mental issues, there's a 2% chance they will kill that relative. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. Here we go. What's up, sir? Oh, Clifton Turner, Instructor Mike for fucking mayor. Black folks don't want to hear the truth. Hey, I want to be mayor. Fucking nobody likes my ass. Who gonna vote for me and shit? Nah, I'm good. I'm good where I am, because the thing is, you think about it. You get into that political space, you got to be careful about what you say, because you got to support a base. And because think about it. Donald Trump says what the fuck is on his mind. You don't like it. He says, grab him by the pussy. You know how many men have said that to... we're not going to even go into that shit. Moving on. What's going on, Donald Washington? Shouts out to My Life in the Shy. What's going on, brother? He does great things, too. Tiger Lily. It is 5 years in Illinois for cash benefits. Yeah, that's cash benefits. But, some people can still do good without the cash benefits. They can still get the other stuff that supports the kids. My thing is this. If you're not working on the fuck that's within you that caused you to create those children, and you're sitting here, putting the dad down and shit like that, I bet you, if there was a limit, if there was a real limitation on real welfare, I'm talking about all that shit, right? All that shit. I guarantee you'd be a better selection of who you have kids with. That would be number one, right? Or you would be more willing to work it out with the person you had kids with, because you would likely need to depend on each other because you can't depend on the government. Shh. Mike, don't say that. There's some people who really need it. I know, fool. I'm not saying those who really need it. I'm talking about using that shit as a fucking crutch, because there are a lot of people who need it who can't get it or have to wait to get it because your ass done passed it down to the mom, to the sister, to the brother. You done passed it down to all the siblings, and now I'm just telling you, I know people just like that. Okay, so miss me with that shit, right? Because there are a lot of good fathers out there who are fighting hard to be in the lives of their children, but they have to go through the bullshit of the courts that have an agenda. I told you about one judge who I voted for, Edward Arce, right? He was a judge that was in the, what division is that where you're dealing with baby daddy, baby mama issues? I want to say chancellery. I could be wrong, but it's the family law section. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when I was dealing with my situation, he didn't want to hear no arguments, not legal arguments. Of course, he wanted to hear that, but he didn't want to hear the negative chatter and shit, the emotional stuff. He was straight business and was very pleasant about it too. I can respect that. And it was an amicable agreement. And the mother of my younger two children and I, we are at a wonderful, wonderful animal child support too. How about that? I give a shit about paying child support. I'll blow the fucking bank account for my kids. I don't care, you know, but we're at a wonderful agreement and we are just at a wonderful space now. And it's pleasant when you have domestic relations. It's wonderful when you have judicial figures whom you know, and especially you know by name, whose name you remember, like Ursula Wolowski, Tyra Walton, Edward Arce. You know, you can remember these people because you know how they are and the decorum, not for basically being your buddy and giving you what the fuck you want, but for being honest and being fair, and you understand the law and you understand how things turn out the way it did. You know, I love that. Clifton Turner, you got a question on here saying, why is it taboo to be a black Republican? Because they're evil, according to certain people. Oh my God. Let's not trigger me on that shit. Here we go. This is exactly why some blacks have no fathers. Absolutely. Absolutely. There are a lot of good men who are out there really, really fighting to be with their kids. But the system, and I tell you one system I do not like. I'm going to go ahead and put them out there. The domestic violence advocacy system. I do not like them. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like who they help. That's not what I'm talking about. Those who are bona fide victims of domestic violence, yeah, they really help shift them from one location to the next. But I don't like that advocacy system because having, been in it in certain respects, I was able to see some of the things that I don't like. So if you ever look at that advocacy system, right, they're mainly a great percentage of them are mainly nonprofits. And so what you'll have bona fide victims, but let me tell you where the abuse comes in that never gets addressed. So they're not going to really tell you about the fuckery within you that causes you to get in the situations that you get in so that you can continue to be a victim. In essence, they're just going to give you an order of protection, give you some money, change the location of where you live, and then maybe put you through a few classes and kind of trickle you to make you think that there is some change really occurring, when the motivation on the inside of you that causes you to get with that abusive man, they're not going to say anything about that, because some of the situations that you're getting in is because of you. But why in the fuck would they actually heal the whole you when they make money off of you? Think about it. Nonprofit really means nonprofit. So that means they can't put up, toys and stuff like that and say, hey, we're selling this to support that. No, but they do get money from donors. They do get money from the government. And when they get money as a nonprofit, they have to have sustainable numbers of people who they're helping to show that with the money that you are giving us, because of the salary and all of the other stuff that, that we say that we can do, we have to have the numbers to show that we are doing. So when a real case comes in, we got no problem helping that. But we know and we can see and smell that she is the reason why she's picking this, but we're not going to tell her that, because then that would make her be better. And then she won't come back to us. So that's one less number that we can continuously serve, because we got to keep this pot of gold rolling in. But especially when you get a woman who wants to abuse the system and gain benefits from it because they angry at the baby daddy, or they angry, whatever the case may be, they can come in with a bullshit reason, and that person may smell bullshit, right? But I'm not going to cut off my nose to spite my face or spite my whatever the statement is. So I'm not going to sit there and call bullshit and say because that's one less number, and the lesser of the numbers that we may get, then maybe somebody's going to have to lose their job because maybe you don't need as much money as you say you did. So to keep everybody paid, to keep all this money flowing in so we can go on ahead and get what we need to get going, we're going to keep the ball rolling. And that is the reason why you have a percentage of fathers who are not in the home and mothers or women who think they can run to that type of system because they know they won't be corrected and they won't be chastised. See how that works? Band-Aids, just like you said, Chris McNeil. Here we go. Marvin Bell, this show is interesting. Mike prepares you how to deal with law enforcement even when they're triggered. Absolutely. We talk about that in class, too. We really do. Let's get back up to it. Because I think that they look at the label, not at the fundamentals. That's a part of it, too. The label of Republican. Absolutely. If Pat O'Brien, here's another question, too. You know where I was going. You know where I was going, Sonia. You know it. If Pat O'Brien was a Democrat and he was on the same ticket as Kim Foxx, do you think Kim Foxx would have still won? Leave that rhetorical. Let's keep going because I'm about to piss off Felicia again. I'm sorry. Let's keep going. I love you, Felicia. It's amazing. We got to meet in person. Maybe not. I don't know. Slap me in the face. It's all good. Here we go. Let's see. I'm trying to get some of your comments. We got to that. All right, so we're going to take a break, and then we will come back. It's 12 o'clock Thursday, November 5th, 77 degrees. Trump won. I'm just playing. I'm triggering you guys. Bye. We'll see you when we come back.
Are you ready for some authentic, delicious street tacos on the south side of Chicago? Stop by for the launch of Sissy's Taco Bar pop-up at 312 East 75th Street on Thursdays and Fridays, starting November 5th from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Experience their jerk chicken, sriracha shrimp, and blackened salmon tacos. And don't forget to ask about their Rome walking taco, Sissy street corn, and children's meal that comes with a special price. Visit sissytacobar.com for more information.
Whatever happened to you falling in that grocery store?
Your guess is as good as mine. My auntie said she knew someone. I gave her all the information, but that was 3 weeks ago and I still haven't heard anything.
You still got time to talk to the lawyers at the CLN.
The CLN? What's that?
It's the Chicago Legal Network, a group of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of law, especially the laws most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. Plus, all the lawyers at the CLN all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community.
Sounds like I definitely need to contact them.
Say less. I can text you everything you need to know. So if you're ever injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information, or call 773-912-3545. That's 773-912-3545. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation.
What's up, good people? You're listening to I Said What I Said with Toussaint Warner and Herb Howard.
You'll never breed a warrior.
Mm-hmm. Warriors, come out to play.
Shh. You hear that?
And that's what's happening at every angle. They're creating paradigms where we can only raise feminine men.
Yeah.
Whether they're homosexual or not, they feminine as shit.
Sure, because all masculinity is toxic.
All masculinity is toxic in a war-torn society where the dominant society is saying to your ass, we don't never want no warriors.
Right.
You bastards.
Any book you've ever read, you can read the Bible, goddammit. When they go and they destroy some shit, they kill all the boy babies.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even want you growing up to think you're going to do some shit to me.
Animals do the same thing. If I come over here and I take over this village now or whatever, like this gonna be my pride. First thing I'm doing, killing the male boys, like killing the male babies.
Don't you even grow up with that attitude,
don't you even think about it.
Ever.
Okay?
Bitch.
Right. You ain't my daddy, you damn right I ain't your daddy. Fuck your fort, little nigga.
Fuck your fort.
You're not my dad.
That's fucked up. Oh man, I hate that I laugh at this shit in public.
That's real.
I hate that I laugh at this stuff in public.
That's real though, right? Toussaint Warner and Herb Howard live on What's in It for the Black People Media, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Protected by women is going both ways. Trigger with Instructor Mike on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Oh,
it's going both ways. When do you all stand up and say we are not about to sit here and let you tarnish the reputation of our brother, right? Whether he did good or not, let's be honest. Maybe we didn't reach out to Superintendent Johnson. Maybe we didn't attend the CAPS meetings. Maybe there were some things we could have done in the policing to be better. We don't want to make that admission, but we are not about to let you tarnish the reputation of a man simply because you did what some of us do. We fuck and then we go. You came or you didn't. Apparently, Johnson was good because you wanted the Oscar Mayer wiener. You were trying to get bars sucking on stars. I'm just saying, lady, you did what you wanted to do and you did it well. For 3 fucking years, who gets raped for that long? And you carry a gun every day. You see women who catch their spouses cheating and kill them right then and there. You had the power and the legal ability under 720 ILCS 5 section 7-1 in defense of yourself. You are authorized to use deadly force to stop a forcible felony, but it's hard to stop a forcible felony when you're sucking on it under a melody. I'm just saying, stop with the bullshit. Yeah, I'm not going. Only on What's in It for the Black People Media Network.
WIIFTBPN. Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio.
And so, my fellow Americans, I have a dream.
You're listening to Trigger.
You want to crown him? Then crown their ass. I ain't scared of you, mother.
The one and only
Mike Brown.
My calculations are correct.
Let's begin.
Oh, my God. That commercial fires me up every time. I'm sitting here, y'all should see me. I'm like, yes, fuck you too. Oh my, has anybody reached out to Superintendent Johnson yet? Because I'm still saying this. Boy, I'm not going with that. Look, I'm sorry, that's another thing that triggered me too. Has anybody reached out? Do we know? I don't know. Probably ain't nothing to be said about that, but I'm saying, I still got an issue with that. You know, have we reached out to Superintendent Johnson, right? Has anybody bothered to talk to him about that? I hope everything is good, because the last thing we heard, even from that camp, was about the domestic that was going on with the wife. I thought the relationship was on the rocks. So if the relationship was on the rocks, that was the motivation for, him getting into whatever he was getting into with, Miss I'm Now Rapes Johnson and shit, or whatever her name is, Donald, now, you want to be mad now because the shit's in the public limelight? Shit, I thought you were done. First, I don't know, whatever. Y'all like that commercial? That commercial was amazing. Man, I want to send stars who put that together. It was Sonya Boy. Shouts out to the musical conductor and trigonometry. Oh my God, that was amazing. Here we go. Thanks to T. Renee for sending 100 stars, and she does that every time she hears that doggone commercial. So while we're on that subject about defending yourself and about not being a victim, how many of you all have actually taken steps towards, prepping yourself for, home invasions and stuff like that? Because, home invasions, and even, when we get back to a sense of normalcy, school, people go back to school shootings, and, we got a bunch of stuff that, well, maybe we don't have school shootings in our neighborhoods, but, there have been a lot of other things that have been taking place previously that during the COVID-19 shutdowns and pandemic, nothing like that has been taking place because we haven't been around people that much. Now we're assumedly about to shut. I can't even say it right. We're about to shut down. How many of you all gotten into concealed carry courses? How many of you all started your Christmas shopping now? I mean, you should be starting on that stuff right now, to get some of that stuff out the way, because, not going to be much of a rush. It's not going to be much of a Black Friday type thing when you can't congregate and, being around a bunch of people. So I just wanted to kind of remind you about that stuff. I kind of got that stuff out the way, and you all should get a concealed carry class, especially. And it don't have to be with me. I know I'm pissed some of you off to where you don't even want to be in my presence. That's fine. Fucking I don't care. But you still need to, go on ahead and get yourself in some kind of class, get yourself some kind of skill. Even if you don't like guns, that's fine. Get into a self-defense class, something where you actually learn how to protect yourself. I was listening to one of the commercials that just played, about being a warrior, and there was and there was another question that was posed in the comments about bashing black folks, and somebody said, well, why do we always have to paint with broad strokes and things like that, bashing black folks? And there was another person in the comments who said that, bashing black people, we have to bash our own like we do our kids if we want them to succeed. Shouts out to Rudy Trevino. If we want them to succeed, we can't overlook our shortcomings. I criticize my people all the time when we fail. You can't succeed if you don't see what failure is. And so when we look at this constant thing talking about bashing black folks, and I definitely get that, especially given the followers that I have, a great degree of, the followers that I have on all my social media platforms. And, there's always this, well, why do we have to say this stuff public? Well, you got no problem talking about white folks publicly and slavery and all this other stuff and pointing out to them probably who have never owned slaves, but you say they so-called benefit from what has been done. Well, at what point in time do we get to talk about our shit in the public? Because it's in the public already. You think we don't see the numbers of people being killed by us? You hate the term black on black crime, but we have no solution to stop the shit that you hate. You want to talk about a plan to bring people together. If people are dying, what fucking people are you bringing together? And so when you this little interaction that we had earlier, where we're triggered because of bashing and saying things, and I don't like what's being said and things like that. If you can't handle what's being said, even if it's the truth, or even if it's not the truth and you don't like it, you're not ready for war. You're not ready for war because you're not ready to deal with reality. You're not ready to deal with pain. You're not ready to deal with, things that are said that you may not like. Because I'm telling you, real military generals, real military, non-commissioned officers, troops who are responsible for training folks, they're going to tell you some shit that you don't want to hear. They're going to tell you some things that, are for your own good without any regard to your emotions. They're going to teach you what you need to know. And so if we can't handle things that are, in essence, triggered us to a position of the things that we don't like, but they're non-violent, when it comes down to violent shit, you can't handle that. And even when I teach in my classes, that's one of the things that I teach in my classes. One of the very first lessons that I teach people, matter of fact, I got a class coming up this Saturday, Pack 2. And I got a class coming up next Saturday, Thursday, and Friday, stuff like that. If you want the class schedule, I will put that out there. Shouts out to Cassandra Taylor for sending the 100 stars. But if you are not ready, as a people to be taught the things that are emotionless, in essence, that are all skill-based, where it requires you to suppress your emotions, become emotion-hardened, and look at the facts to be able to, be tough under pressure, you're not ready to carry a gun. My class is not a basic pistol class. And I got another firearms instructor, Jacob Knowles. Shouts out to you. What's going on, sir? He's another firearms instructor. And I get firearms instructors, of all races that come in, because I have a large, following in that community, of all races who come in and watch this show and other shows too, and they will agree, look, you got to really suppress your emotions when it comes down to self-defense, when it comes down to dealing with a firearm. And one of the very first lessons that I teach is fuck your feelings. And I literally say that. So I tell you, I'm going to trigger you. I'm not a soft kind of instructor. I'm a very controversial instructor because my job is to trigger you to see where you'll break, to trigger you to see, what type of things would cause you to catch an attitude with authority figures and stuff like that. And I purposely do that. I purposely fuck with you just to see and get you to push past this. This isn't a basic pistol class. This is a concealed carry class. This concealed carry class, and I'll give you the schedule in a minute. This concealed carry class is designed, and it has the implication behind it that once you're done with this class, you will get a certificate that will allow you to be able to apply for a concealed carry license. A basic pistol certificate does not authorize you to carry a firearm maybe in these constitutional carry states, sure, but in states where a license is required, that basic pistol certificate is the vehicle through which you get your certification. But in Illinois, a basic pistol certificate can be added to a concealed carry class that takes away 8 hours, but you still got to go through an 8-hour component. And we have the most hours, I want to say, among about, I would say 40 plus states where we have to go through 16 hours. And those of us who are actually experienced in the field and not just pistol shooters, we could tell you that 16 hours isn't enough. That is not enough. That is not enough
to be prepared for a spontaneous, I didn't expect this to happen situation where I have to defend myself against one and or multiple threats in a situation where I should have been paying attention to my surroundings, but I wasn't, because I was on Facebook, I was on Instagram, I was on TikTok, I was doing other shit. My mind was so convoluted, or my mind was so, worried about who's going to fucking win the election. Is it going to be Trump or is it going to be Biden? Am I going to worry about Trump supporters coming after me? Am I going to worry about Biden supporters ain't coming after shit but Facebook? But, what is this thing that I have to worry about instead of what's in front of you? That's why I keep asking the question, and I asked that from the beginning. What the fuck did you get from your Biden prize? You're still going to get robbed by the person who's around the corner from your comfortable ass house if you're not prepared. You still going to get fucked at the school that you don't go to. You're still, worry about the things that are immediately in front of you. The curriculum. I said it earlier. I'm going to kind of dabble out and dabble back into self-defense, but we still haven't heard anything from Janice Jackson about the state of affairs in the learning in our Chicago public school system online. How's that going? Give us an update about that. How are our kids doing? Do you want to hear the truth about that? No. So let's bring it back to self-defense. Let's get to it. It's not enough hours, and you also need to have refresher hours and continuous training. I agree with you. Michael Franklin says R. Lee Emery was not acting in Full Metal Jacket. It goes down in boot camp. You really need to make sure that you are prepared for the things that are immediately in front of you that could have the most devastating effect to you. And one of those things is the self-defense of your person, the self-defense of your home, the self-defense of your family. Are you prepared for that? Do you have the proper mindset to be able to deal with that? If you can't take triggered Mike, and I'm nobody. I'm humble. I stay where I am. I got the experience that I got. It is what it is. There are people who are far greater than me, and I'm humbled enough to still learn from them, but I'm a nobody. Fuck that. Mike Brown could be dead and gone within the next 5 seconds, 5 minutes, and you will still have the fuckery that you are stuck in. So during the time, that little dash between the date that we're born and the date that we die, when somebody gives you some advice, stop worrying about all this like shit. Fuck it. You don't have to like me. I could give 2 fucks if you don't. Take what I say, get your ass up off that couch and register for somebody's concealed carry class and get your ass out there and be prepared to defend yourself, because no one's going to give a shit about your political party when they ask for that damn wallet. No one's going to give a shit about your political party when they ask for that wallet in between your legs. Ladies, your man ain't coming to save your ass. You're going to have to save your own ass. And that'd be part of the problem right there. You want somebody else to save your ass instead of you saving your ass. You need to go on ahead and do that. It is no one else's job to protect you but you. Unfuck your fuck and start teaching your children how to do for you, how to do for themselves. And that's part of the problem. Even with this election, you're going to still be stuck in fuck. Even in 2 years with the next election, you still going to be stuck in fuck. How many situations are you going to keep on going through? And no one's perfect. I'm not perfect either. I got situations in my life I got to unfuck. That's how I can speak to the authenticity of the unfuck message. We all have to unfuck that. What do you get from whoever wins? The electoral count is still 253 to 214. Situations are still going on in court regardless of who wins. This election, in essence, has been kind of a distraction. And that's what happens when you can't multitask and multi-focus on things that mean more to you. For crying out loud, we ain't even talking about COVID-19. Right? It's amazing how the COVID-19 shit tends to disappear when other things are more relevant, because we don't want you to think your ass about dying. We want you to think about the shit that matters to us and keeps us in our jobs. I'm just saying. Jacob Noel, you said it best. Situational awareness and combat mindset. Okay. The schedule. So schedule for the classes. I have, again, the class this weekend that's already filled, but the next classes are, let me get to that. Saturday and Sunday, November 14th and 15th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thursday and Friday, November 19th and 20th. Sunday and Monday, November 22nd and 23rd, right before Thanksgiving. I got classes in December, stuff like that. So just make sure you find yourself in. If you want to come to my class, that's great. I'm humbled by you being there, okay? I want you to come. That's great. If you find yourself in someone else's class, the goal is get the job done and make sure that the instructor is going to teach you what you need to learn, okay? And if you don't know anything about firearms, what do you need to learn, right? So you're going to try to go to someone you like. Okay, it is what it is. But in any event, hey, Kim, you have a great day too. Make sure that you get to someone's training where they're going to teach you and not care about your feelings.
This is like a reverse CPR class. Instead of teaching you how to save someone else, we are trying to teach you how to save yourself. So let's make the rest of this show a concealed carry show, because again, the people fail for the lack of knowledge. So what questions do you have? We're going to start off by looking at one question here. I still haven't purchased a weapon. All I have is a baseball bat and Rambo knives. I don't even know where to start when purchasing a weapon. Won't be the first gun, or what would be the first gun you would recommend? That is a great question. So I still say that you need to go to a gun store where you can try before you buy. Try the gun before you buy that gun. Absolutely. Hold it. See how it feels in your hand. See how the recoil feels. If I were you, I would probably, get with an instructor or someone who's going to give you a basic firearms familiarity course. I wouldn't say go, balls out or whatever with a full concealed carry course, because some people are still in the, I don't want to go all the way, but I just want to kind of see if it's for me and kind of get into it. I understand that. So you definitely need to get a gun, a gun that you feel comfortable with. It needs to be affordable, comfortable, usable, and battle ready. Okay. I still say battle ready, and some people debate me on that, but I say battle ready. You're not getting the firearm that's for your ego. You're getting the firearm that's for the battle you may find yourself in. South Bend, Indiana, there was a young lady, black woman, right, who was there with her 2 children, and 5 people busted in her house during a home invasion. These instructors who sit there and tell you, you can go ahead and get a small gun. Don't worry about that. You just want to get you something to be able to deal with a little something, but the likelihood of dealing with that something is very minimal because you're a female, or because you live in this area, or because you live in that area. And the instructor is never around when you find yourself in that situation that is way worse than what the instructor said you're going to likely deal with. I am not going to do that with your life. I'm going to tell you, you don't know what battle you may find yourself in. It could be one you happen upon, or one you walk into, or one that finds its way in your area. You need to be prepared, okay? So you need to get the kind of firearm that's going to allow you to carry the kind of ammunition in the capacity that you need to carry it, so that you can deal with the multitude of threats that may come your way, or even have enough to deal with that one threat that may come your way. Because a person could have a great mindset and a heavy dose of adrenaline, or be on some kind of narcotic that could influence their ability to survive a great deal of pain, where then you would have to, in essence, pull the plug or shut the body down. There's a difference between how many rounds you have and how many you'll shoot, how many you shoot and how many connect with that body, and how many actually impacted areas that increase the chances of the body shutting down. All of those varying factors that have everything to do with your pistol selection and the situation you find yourself in, and the anomalies that occur in person-to-person struggle and conflict, in shooting or gunfighting. Those are the things that you want to make sure you increase your chances of survival, because you don't know what's going to come out of that situation. You also need to know you. Just because you can hold every gun does not mean that you have the dexterity to be able to handle continuous trigger presses, which require a great degree of tendon strength and muscular strength in your arm and stuff like that. Dexterity, you need to be able to continuously sustain that continuous movement of the trigger while you're moving, your cardiovascular system. All of these things play into whether or not you have a great degree of survivability with that tool, because the gun is just the tool. The gun does not all of a sudden, when you touch it, just fill you with superpowers to be something that you haven't been before. Granted, even though there are moments under that physiological and psychological stress where you feel you have an exorbitant amount or extra amount of strength, that is true, but you're not rising to any occasion. You're stooping to the level of your training, which means that it's not pre-primed in your brain. You're not going to do it. Okay? And make sure that you know the law. I agree, Eddie Guns. Make sure that you know the law. But I will say this. You do not get a concealed carry license, and you do not carry a gun so you can avoid getting arrested. Because you could do everything right and still be falsely arrested. I know that firsthand. You could do everything right and still be falsely arrested. You carry the gun and you make sure you have the license so that you have a greater chance of, one, surviving. That's the number one thing, surviving, okay? I didn't say you have the 100% chance of surviving, no, but you have a greater chance of surviving, because you could still shoot that person, stop that person, and then yourself die. You could have been shot and don't even know it. Okay, so you want to increase the chances of you surviving. And then after that, after all the legal mumbo jumbo, right? I've told you about maybe one of the cases I've been in where, I got falsely arrested for defending myself. State's attorney didn't want to hear shit. Police didn't want to hear shit. Judge Ursula Wolowski, she heard the case. She was fair in her assessment, found not guilty because I had the evidence. Sometimes you don't get the victory until you go to the courts. That's why it's important for you to know about the judges you're going to be in front of, and you need to know and deal with the reality of the criminal justice system. Sometimes good people get arrested. It's bullshit. It should not happen. But when it does, are you going to sit there and cry about the fucking arrest? Yes. Okay, at first, you should. It hurts. It sucks. I get it. We're human. But after that, after the emotions subside, the facts reside. How do we get out of the situation that we find ourselves in? Right? And this is what makes it possible when you don't know the law. This is what makes it possible for cunning-ass attorneys who come in and take your money, even if it's just your bond money, CBR attorney, whatever, even if it's just your bond money, but they come in and just get you to plea because they don't want to take, a look into your case because you don't have the money and stuff like that. There are plenty of issues that we could talk about as it relates to the criminal justice system and what we could be focusing on. Where's the community bond fund? Willie Wilson has bonded so many people out of jail, but where are their family members at? We leave so many people behind. So long and short of it, you are right about that. Who else has a question about concealed carry and things relative to that? Because I see a lot of the same names and the same faces on here, but this is a time for you to, ask questions about concealed carry, whatever the case may be. The people fail for the lack of knowledge. So this is that show. Let's start to ask those questions in terms of the laws, making sure that you know them, making sure that you're prepared. So we're going to go ahead and take a break. I want to take a break. And I want you to go on ahead and throw some questions on there that I can start to respond to. Not that I'm running out of shit to talk about. I always got stuff to talk about. But I want to make this show about your questions, about concealed carry, about guns, stuff like that. USCCA, we can talk about that, Jacob. I can even do USCCA versus CCW, okay? So start to put your questions on there. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back with Trigger.
WIFTBPN. Introducing your trusted source for high-quality black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
Joining Chicago famous
Tony Scott. Was there still that pushback against comedians becoming radio personalities, or was it accepted around that time?
In Chicago, we was used to having some funny on the radio in the morning, so.
I make you laugh. I'm here to fucking amuse you.
Man, I remember one time I was at a Bulls game, and I'm at the little concession stand. This dude in front of me, this little OG dude turned around like, yeah, you that cat, you that dude that replaced Dale. We don't like that shit.
Word?
Why are you here? I'm like, I'm just trying to buy a hot dog, sir. I'm just trying to buy a hot dog. And then what make it so bad, when Sam left and I got the job, I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm getting ready to do afternoons. She's like, oh, yeah, baby, yeah. I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, I'm replacing Sam Silk. She's like, hold on. Wait, you replacing Sam Silk? Where's Sam going? I'm like, Mama, like, my mama was upset.
Right, your mama.
Right. I'm like, Mama, did you just hear that let me replace Sam Silk? And she was like, okay, where's Sam going? But yeah, so I think that was the point where I really realized that, you know, I had a chance of actually making a career.
Chicago Famous, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Fun guy.
What's tomorrow?
Fun guy, what's up, baby?
What it do, baby?
Yeah, you already know.
You know what I'm saying? So I'll be telling you.
What's going on, Chicago? What's in it for the Black People Media presents?
I want to go higher. Oh my God.
Call your sons, call your daughters, call your friends, call your neighbors.
The Big Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. with Eugene McIntosh and Terrence Tomlin. We got what you need right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Are you ready for some authentic, delicious street tacos on the south side of Chicago? Stop by for the launch of Sissy's Taco Bar pop-up at 312 East 75th Street on Thursdays and Fridays, starting November 5th from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Experience their jerk chicken, sriracha shrimp, and blackened salmon tacos. And don't forget to ask about their Rome walking taco, Sissy street corn, and children's meal that comes with a special price. Visit sissytacobar.com for more information.
WIIFTBPM.
All right, we are back. Yep, you all put questions up there. That's good. This is Trigger with Instructor Mike. I'm your host, Instructor Mike. Don't forget to hit those stars to support great content on What's in It for the Black People Media Network. All right, so let me get to these questions. Here we go. Are you required? This is from Felicia Simmons Stovall. Are you required to have a concealed carry permit on your person? Yes. If you do have a concealed carry license and you are actually carrying a firearm, you are required to have your concealed carry permit on your person. Now, there has been this debate as to whether or not you should have your concealed carry permit and your FYD card on your person. I just keep both of mine on me. Why? Because it's not an inconvenience. Both cards together, you don't even feel them. They're just there. So I just keep both of them on me just as a coverall, okay? Someone asked me, do I have a security company? No, I don't have a security company. I don't want those problems. I don't want those problems of having a security company. But if I did, it would definitely be a lot of observe and reporting. We would watch you. We would provide security as much as we could. And then if shit gets out of hand, we'll call the police and then watch and then observe what we saw. That's where we would go with it. I'm not necessarily trying to get one, so I'm past all that. Clifton Turner asks, is the concealed carry license only valid within the boundaries of the city of Chicago, or is it good for the entire state of Illinois? It is not only good for the entire state of Illinois, it is good for maybe about 27 or 28, I believe, 27 other states as well. That you can carry your firearm in that state, but make sure that you look at the locations where you cannot carry. Of course, there is always the transportation exemption, which allows you to be able to transport in between states so long as that gun stays within the vehicle, okay? But make sure that you always check the laws of the states you are traveling through and going to before you begin to travel, okay? Continuing on. Do you have a regular training class for concealed carry license holders that don't need a renewal and just a general additional training? I don't have a class per se, but I do have one-on-one training, okay? So you would just have to get with me in terms of that one-on-one training. You can go to MikeBrownsClass.com or 773-372-3929, 773-372-3929. You can text stating that you want that training, and we would just work out a schedule. And, just like a personal trainer going to the gym, I'd be your personal trainer going to the range. Pew, 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 pew. Okay? So that's pretty much how that works, okay? Because I tried putting on an advanced firearms tactics classes, and so much for the we black folks do everything. That's not fucking true. Because I can tell you the many classes that I've sat there and put on advanced, and I only had one person show up. So I don't put them on anymore. I just stick to basic shit because most people will get what they need. Few people get what they need to get after they got what they needed to be what they want. Hate to say it, but it's the truth. And I'm controversial enough to tell you that shit because other people ain't going to tell you because they want you to come in their class and still like them so you can pay them to hide the fucking truth from your ass. But you're not getting that here. Okay? So that's why I don't do those large advanced classes. Even though there are some instructors in some areas who do them. They do. And that's disappointing, too. Like, you go to some of these Republican states like Texas. Yeah, I thought it was going to be blue. It's still red, fuckers. But Texas, they can run an advanced class, and they will be packed. Not just with white folks, with black folks, too, which is crazy. Like, in Republican states, black folks do well with guns. But in Democrat states, you got to fucking hide the shit. Miss me. Anyway, here we go. I think that question was answered. Eddie Guns, you're doing the questions. Okay. All right, good. All right, moving on. Somebody asked me a question about USCCA versus CCW SAFE. I will say this. I got a comparison side by side. USCCA stands for the United States Concealed Carry Association. They're a rather, I don't want to call them new, but they're more newer, if you will, than the National Rifle Association. And they offer an insurance product and also CCW SAFE. CCW standing for, obviously, Concealed Carry Weapons Safe. So side-by-side cost, they're talking about $497 a year for USCCA versus $499. If you look at the cost per month, the $499 I think is the maximum plan they have. I only pay like less than $200 for the whole year, okay? But their bail bond premium coverage for USCCA is $50,000, and then CCW SAFE is $100,000 in bond, and it actually is more. If you understand about, being charged with murder, the highest thing you could be charged with aside from no bail, the amounts typically range in the $1 million D, which is, 10% of that being $100,000 plus. And I think CCW SAFE even has a $500,000 plan for the bail bond coverage. You want to make sure that you have the coverage where you can get your ass out of the county, because I'm telling you, there are people who are influenced, in essence, to plead guilty to shit they didn't do because of the conditions inside of the jail that they can't take, right? So you want to make sure that you can get out so you can actually win your case or have a better chance of winning. Choose your own attorney. Now, USCCA, you choose your attorney. CCW SAFE, they choose. If you don't know shit about self-defense law and how to defend yourself, what the fuck are you choosing? Absolutely. So I'm going to go on ahead and go with they choose. And the one thing I like about CCW SAFE, CCW SAFE was founded by a police officer who was sued. The case was settled out, but he didn't like the way he felt, and he knew the kind of coverage that needed to happen for police officers, in essence, or people to be able to defend themselves in, lawsuits and things like that, both in the administrative, the criminal, and the civil area, if you will. So he founded this company, and it was great because the number one case that they won, or the case that they won, the first case they won, if you will, was defending a black man being charged with murder in the South, and they won his acquittal, and that's a selling point for them. USCCA, I still have yet to hear of any cases where they were successful. I'm not talking about charges were dropped. That could happen, right? It could happen for a variety of reasons. I'm talking about took that shit to trial and you actually won. I like those kind of results. It's like telling me you're a boxer but you ain't never been punched, or a fighter but you ain't never won a match, So moving on. For the criminal defense attorneys, they're covered up to $250,000. But with CCW SAFE, they're covered. There's no limitation, okay? Civil damages is typically shared with USCCA with the civil defense limit, but with CCW SAFE, it's $1 million in civil damages, which is typically your most of your policies when you're a business professional, stuff like that. There's $1 million cap, $2 million cap, stuff like that. Any legal weapon, both of them, yes. Expert witnesses, both of them, yes. 50 state coverage, both of them, yes. Ongoing and training and content, they both have that. USCCA has a magazine that, if you still read magazines, which I kind of do from time to time, yes. But CCW SAFE has online content, which you're probably more likely to read since touching your phone, you're always on social media and stuff like that with the newsletter. Is it available nationwide? USCCA is not available in New York and Washington, but CCW Safe nationwide. 24/7 emergency hotline, both of them, yes. Is your spouse covered in that plan? With USCCA Safe or USCCA, it's an additional fee. For your spouse in CCW Safe, they're covered inside the home. Now, there is an additional fee outside. Okay, so that's another benefit. Firearm loss and theft protection. For USCCA, it's yes, and that's shared with your personal hardship coverage. But with firearm loss and theft, CCW Safe has a replacement program. I like to tell you that this is a great thing. And this is a great thing. Shouts out to Frederica for the 100 stars. Well, this is a great thing because I always advocate that you shouldn't have just one gun, you should have two. Because the first thing that's going to happen is the minute you shoot someone with that firearm, your firearm is evidence. So it's going to be secured, tagged or whatever the case might have been. And it will be, if you're in Chicago at the evidence or recovered property section, it's going to be there. Or if you're in some suburb, it's going to be in the evidence room somewhere, and it will remain as evidence until the disposition of that case. And sometimes you'll have to get it by court order. And in Chicago, you may not ever see that gun again. They might destroy that shit, or it'll be found in the sea somewhere. You just never know. So it's always better to have two guns or practically more. But buy what you can handle, control what you can handle, stuff like that. But you definitely want to have more than one firearm, because if you have not been charged with a crime, you still want to be able to defend yourself until they say you cannot possess that gun because of the case that's going on at that moment. Okay. Lower pricing tiers available for both of them. Yes. Ongoing attorney access. Yes, for both of them. Compensation while in court. USCCA has, and hope it don't happen in Harvey. Thank you, Eddie, for that, for sure. You silly. Compensation while in court. USCCA boasts a $750 a day compensation, where CCW Safe has $350 a day. Look, all right, compensation, cool, whatever. Look, just get me found not guilty, especially if I didn't do that shit, okay? That's what I'm wanting better than anything. Personal hardship coverage, $6,000, but of course you're sharing that with your firearm loss and theft protection. And then with CCW Safe, it's $4,000 in cleanup fees. And then the psychological support, which is needed, $6,000 for CCW Safe, and then with $6,000 with USCCA, and with CCW Safe, 40 sessions up to $150 an hour. Okay, this stuff is important. Now, what you consider to be important, that's up to you. But for me, I rock with CCW Safe. I rock with CCW Safe because, insurance is cool. All that stuff is great, right? But how many of you all have had the shitty car insurance where you got full coverage from the General or some shit like that? Go want to save some time, go to the General and save some time. And you feel happy because you got the little man with the shit and they gave you a little Eagle or whatever the case may be. How many of y'all remember Eagle insurance? I've got something for you. Absolutely. So you feel like you're covered with that insurance until your ass gets into an accident. And then you get into an accident and you're expecting, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, where they'll tell you, hey, just go on ahead and pick out a car. We'll take care of the bill. They'll be in contact with us. Great. You don't have to put nothing down. You're fine. We'll go on ahead and take care of that shit. Not with those bootleg ass insurance companies you got full coverage with. You're about to come out of pocket and pay for that whole car rental, and then they will reimburse you when they feel like they will reimburse you. You want to avoid having that kind of insurance experience with this product. I'm not showing my age. Shut up. My gray is worse than my actual age.
Class.
Yeah, that's what it is, right? How about the Lincoln, when you got the Lincoln guy boxing? Y'all don't say shit. That old car is worth money. Call Victory Auto Records at 630. The shows. Got it. But don't find yourself in that kind of situation with your concealed carry insurance, okay? You want to be in the position where, when the shit happens, you can call the people. They can vigorously fight for you, especially at that moment where, depending upon your level of experience, if you've never experienced this before, this will be perhaps maybe one of the worst moments in your life that you have survived, hopefully. And at that time, you want to, relax it and, get yourself and calm yourself back down and get yourself back to earth. If your family members are hurt or other people are hurt, the more traumatic the situation at that time, the police got 1,000 questions for you, because their duty is to solve the crime, not protect your rights. Well, your job is to protect your rights. So you want to make sure you have the right kind of insurance that or the right kind of services product. And CCW Safe will tell you we are not necessarily insurance. We are a services product. In other words, we provide a service for you at the moment where you need that service. And one of the things that I love about CCW Safe members, we are able to keep our prices that we pay per year low because we're not going around looking for shit to get into. That is just probably the most important thing out of it all. Yes, you got the services product, but you're not going around looking for conflict to get into, to test to see if the shit works. You avoid the conflict and have it if you need it. And then when you use it, then you go on ahead and then use it because you had no other choice, because communication had broken down, because your last option was your first option, and then you're of the presence of mind to remember these things. And I'm going to tell you some stuff too, okay? We're going to talk about this when you call after the shooting, what to do, and then when the police come to you, what to say. So we're going to do that because I just triggered myself into teaching that. But at that moment, you need to have the people to call and have that assurance to understand that if the situation is justified, they're definitely going to go to bat. And that's one thing to understand about USCCA and CCW Safe. They want it to be a situation where you had no other choice and that your last choice was your first choice and that you shot, and they feel great about defending you. You see what I'm saying? You need some Kyle Rittenhouse. Y'all mad as shit. Don't let me trigger y'all on that Kyle Rittenhouse. All right, moving on. After the shooting, you're going to be scared. It's going to be a whole bunch of other different things. You need to understand something. The police's job is to solve the crime. Your job is to protect your rights. So the first thing you need to do is, after you make sure the scene is secure, whatever the case may be, I advocate breaking out a phone. And, I actually advocate having two phones. Okay. Now, I'm not saying two iPhones. Your budget may not be able to. Don't do me on the 630-360-2004 quote. I know the Victory Auto Records number. They challenged me in the comments. Don't get me to know. It's in Bensonville near O'Hare.
They got to buy the ad space.
You know it. Right. They've got to buy the ad space. So, Victory, come on, give us some advertising here on Triggered with Instructor Mike. Here we go. I gave you a shameless plug. Maze is going to get me when I walk out this door. All right. So, in any event, I advocate that you have two phones. Here's a hint. Get you a dollar store phone, right? I'm not talking about adding minutes to that dollar store cheap ass phone, but the dollar store phone is good for calling 911, okay? And when you call 911, you need to tell them 6 things, okay? I say 5 to 6 things. 1, you need to give them the incident that occurred and keep your statements no more than 3 words. I hope you guys are having pen and paper and writing this stuff down. If not, come back, watch it again, whatever the case may be, okay? But these things, tell them what happened. Shots fired, okay? Tell them what happened to the subject or the suspect that you were dealing with. Subject down, okay? Give them the location. I'll give you the location of my business. 644 East 79th Street, top stairwell. 644 East 79th Street, top stairwell. Then you're going to tell them what you need. Send police and paramedics. And then you want to give them a description of, in essence, what you're wearing. Male black, blue hat, black shirt, black pants, black shoes, right? These things you tell them, okay? And even if they ask you your location, the 644 East 79th Street top stairwell, you want to keep your information that you put on that 911 call as minimum as possible. And you need to recite these things over and over and over and over again, or at least what to say so that you have it written down somewhere or even in your mind, the things that you need to tell them. Where did I get this information from? I remember as a police officer, whenever I was asking for backup, whenever I was giving a location, whenever I was telling them what I was going through, what kind of help I needed, stuff like that. Those are the things that we would say over the air, right? We wouldn't come over the air, 644, I need you to send the police because I got into a situation where you sent me to the house. And then when I got inside of the house, I came inside. And then when I came inside, I was met with Miss Kalerowitz, and Miss Kalerowitz began to talk to me. And then all of a sudden, her son came out of the room in the back, and I didn't know she was in the back. And then he began to have his hand behind his back. As his hand was behind his back, I then felt he had a gun because he began talking aggressively, saying I would shoot you. And then after saying I would shoot you, I then put my hand on my firearm I then pulled out my firearm and said, hey, put your hands down, put your hands down, put your hands down. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. He then suddenly moved his hands and then I shot him. I'm not going to say all that shit over the radio. That's a lot of stuff. Some of you all are even like, what the fuck did you just say? Absolutely. But that's what some people do on 911 calls. That's why you need to keep it simple. Shots fired. Shots fired. It implies that a gun was used. So I don't have to talk about the gun being used, right? It implies that a gun was used. Subject down. Subject down. Okay, so they know that the person is down who was the subject of that shots being fired, okay? They're probably going to ask your location, 644 East 79th Street, 644 East 79th Street, top stairwell. So now you told them where to come. Send police and fire or send police and paramedics. You just told them what kind of help they need to send to the scene. And then you give them a description about you so they know who the point of contact is. The point of contact is. And if you want to tell them your name, which you should, Mike Brown, Mike Brown. They have a name, they have a point of contact, they have a location, they know what to bring, they know the situation, and they know they have a subject that's there on scene. Other than that, shut the fuck up, say less. And whatever you repeat, it's those things over and over again. Now, you're going to have some dispatchers that are going to want to get as nosy as fuck about what's going on so they can feed more information to the police. The more you begin to talk, that 911 is recorded. That call could be used as evidence against you. Remember, Miranda versus Arizona, 384 U.S. 436, 1966. It does not protect written statements, but it does protect speech, but not shit that you say without being read your Miranda, right? So you can't cite, well, I didn't mean to say that shit. It was a 911 call. You said that shit. No one made you say it. You said it. Less is more. Less is more. Okay? Now, when the police get there, remember, I want you to understand, again, citing U.S. Supreme Court case law, Miranda versus Arizona, 384 U.S. 436, and Salinas versus Texas, which is one of the newer Fifth Amendment cases, if you will. The Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution does not say you have the right to remain silent. That's Miranda, okay? It does not say you have the right to remain silent. It says no person shall be compelled to be a witness against himself in a criminal trial. That's criminal. Got shit to do with civil. So cover your bases because you could be civilly sued and you could be criminally tried. So to cover your bases, there are no such things as friendly conversations with the police. I don't give a shit how friendly they are. When you are in this situation, there is no such thing as a friendly conversation. Here's what you need to say. Officer, I was the victim of a crime. Why do you want to say that? Because in our system of justice, there is a position. It's all adversarial. And if it's adversarial, there's a position. You're either the suspect or you're the victim. You're either the prosecution or you're the defense. You're either the plaintiff or you're the respondent. It's positional, okay? So state your position right away. I am the victim of a crime. I invoke my Fifth Amendment rights, okay? You can't just sit there and say because you have the right to a lawyer that your presence automatically triggers the right to a lawyer. No, you have the right to one, but Salinas versus Texas gets triggered because you just standing there and just being silent doesn't automatically mean you want to remain silent because that could be used as an indication of guilt that you don't want to say you did it. So invoke your Fifth Amendment rights. I invoke my Fifth Amendment rights. I need medical attention. I want my lawyer. Don't say I need my lawyer. I know you need your lawyer, but do you want a lawyer? That's the semantics of understanding the gray area in the legal system. So, officer, I was the victim of a crime. I need medical attention. I invoke my Fifth Amendment rights. I want my lawyer. That's it. You need to remember that shit like your favorite rap lyric. If you can remember nowadays, everybody when they talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. You better move these lips, okay? Officer, I was a victim of a crime. I need medical attention. I invoke my Fifth Amendment rights. I want my lawyer, okay? And repeat that. Repeat that shit. Don't be an asshole in saying it. I don't care what they say. I don't care how belligerent they get. You maintain calm. After all, you're the victim. What do you get excited for, right? If I said I want my lawyer, you should shut the fuck up and leave me alone. That's how you feel. But don't say that shit. Officer, I was a victim of a crime. I invoke my Fifth Amendment rights. I need medical attention. I want my lawyer. And all your questions should be answered around that, okay? And hopefully you have either USCCA or CCW Safe. I let you choose. Me, I'm rocking with CCW Safe because if they can defend a black man in the South, they can remember this motherfucker with a mouth. I'm just saying, Dr. Seuss on that ass. Okay. So having said that, I hope you all gained something out of this show, because this knowledge is stuff that people got to pay for. Okay. And I'm bringing it to you all for free. Okay. It's all good because I really love you. I care for you. I want you to be able to, find your way in a better position should you have to defend yourself, and you can do everything right. You really can, but you can still find yourself on the wrong side of an arrest. That's the reality of it. Okay. And if we're looking at that, the wrong side of an arrest, you need to make sure that you're going to find yourself on the right side of being able to properly defend yourself against, wrongful arrests and things like that. And those of you all who are, friends with the continuing state's attorney, Kim Fox, encourage her to still put on that gun. And it don't have to be with me. I don't give a shit. Fine. But still encourage her to put on that gun education summit, because the people fail for the lack of knowledge. I was very, very happy when her office spearheaded that, and very disappointed when they didn't go through with it. For whatever the reason is, it is the case that the people still need to be educated, because not everybody wants to carry a gun. Some people just want to possess one for the house to protect themselves while they are at home. They need to know how to properly secure that firearm at home. They need to learn how to properly handle that firearm. They need to know what to do when the police get there. You see what I'm saying? And so you can't be about reform and be selective in that, okay, when it fits your agenda. Reform is just that, reform. And you can't reform without education, because we want to teach people to avoid those pitfalls. I don't have her phone number. I'm not gonna give a fuck. I ain't got time for that shit. I'm too busy educating and doing my part. Just like they reached out to me before, they could reach out to me again. They had my number. They caught me through my Facebook inbox, stuff like that. They know how to reach out to me if they wanted to. It ain't about me. It ain't about Mike Brown. You can find somebody else who sings your tune, whatever. Just get the shit done. It is what it is. Okay. All right. It's 12:55. It's November 5th. Still waiting for those election results. Whatever the outcome, take something from having been triggered today, and that is do something for you so that you can make your situation better, so that you're able to protect yourself, so that you're able to protect your family. Start having these conversations with your kids, because you never know. You may find out that your kids may have had exposure to my book, because I'm spreading this book all over the place, right? And they will come home and start asking you those tough questions. So you can't run from this shit. You better start having conversations with them. Because if you're not fixing the shit in your house and in those four walls, if we're not being a family on the inside, we're not ready for some outside family shit. All right? And that's what it is. All right. So that having been said, this has been a great week. It really has been. It really has been. And this is Trigger with Instructor Mike. Until next week, I will see you all. Take care.